So I just got out of the gym, and this is a video I would normally post on my other channel, but I wanted to post it on this channel because it's not relevant to music and traveling. So to begin, we are living in some strange ass times right now as of 2020. I'm going to tell you right now, it's a little bit frightening as to just how quickly people have just settled and given up their rights, liberties, and freedoms and argue with each other like sheep rather than team up and have a better life and country. So to make a long story short, I think one of the reasons why I keep answering and hearing the same fucking questions and topics over and over again and seeing more sheeple on the rise is because I think TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and all these other platforms are damaging people's brains. Because I noticed back in 2019 when life was good, I had my own place living in San Diego, traveling across the country, doing a job that I loved every day. It wasn't like this one bit. The economy was good. The world was the safest it's been in history. People were connecting. AI was used for good, such as my delivery job. People's lives were just overall good. Everybody was like happy, and people were just connecting so much better than they ever have before. You can walk around cities and not have to worry about getting mugged. We didn't have to stress about inflation or money. There were more jobs created, more than ever. And just after 2020, it all evaporated. And it seems like as of 2025 now, anytime you say anything like I do on these videos, sheep will blow up your phone just saying stupid shit. And it's got to the point to where I see it and there's no profile picture, no videos, no subscribers, and they say all that nonsense. I don't really read it any further after like the first 3 words. And it just seems like it regurgitates and repeats itself over and over. And it's just sad of just how people are so weak and so fragile. And it's like they're butter and that they're gonna melt because they're such wimpy little slabs of meat. And I don't call it TikTok brain for nothing. You know, anytime you talk about how shitty the U.S. is getting, or the classic quote from George Carlin, which was, it's called the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it. Nobody gets the message. Just like George Carlin said in the video itself. It's crazy how that was 1997 when he said that, and it is so relevant today and way ahead of its time, and it still is. And I think one of the reasons why I keep answering and hearing the same questions and comments over and fucking over again is because of just how weak and fragile people are. Like, this is not normal. I mean, we're on about year 6 now of this socialist and communist nonsense, where you are starting to have very limited freedoms, very limited travel, very limited income, very limited time to do stuff, very limited things you can buy, very limited quality on food and produce, very limited access to things, and limited access to high-speed internet nowadays. And we are on year 6 of this bullshit now, and nobody seems to have done anything about it. But I have noticed that people that are younger are starting to take action. But people that are also younger are kind of the problem as well. I'm in my 30s now, and I'm at that age where I'm starting to understand things, including life. So whenever I read those types of comments from sheeple, to me, it tells me that it's mostly coming from like younger people, such as high school or their early 20s. Because I'm at the age where I've started to figure it out. But most of the people in this country, let alone the world, have already figured it out that this country is a fucking disaster. Like, just go out there and look for yourself. Like, walk around San Francisco, walk around LA, walk around New York City, or any city for that matter. It is not America anymore. It just isn't. Because if you're a U.S. citizen, you're born and raised in this country, you have a job after finishing high school, you have no criminal record, and you have no money or a place to live at the end of the day, then there is something broke in that cycle and system. Because when you look back at your grandparents' generation, they were able to finish high school, start out at any kind of job, and have a place to rent, moving on to their long-term career, starting a family, and buying a house by the age of 20. That's not a thing anymore. And if you can't figure out something is broke in that cycle and you would rather just argue like a sheep you are, then I hate to say it, but you're kind of just wasting oxygen and space here. Because this is not a way to live. And people such as myself are going to be leaving the US for that reason. Because it's just not affordable to live anymore. You just hear all these articles about how nothing is affordable and how inflation is stupid high on the rise. And how AI is taking over jobs. But yet everywhere you go, you see houses being built that are unaffordable for the American people, like I mentioned in one of my other shorts, which had also stupid comments from it. And boomers just can't figure it out either, but they're not building houses for the American people. They're building houses for like $800,000 or more, you know. They're not building the one-bedroom houses anymore because of these excuses called zoning laws. You know, America's starting to look like Pixie World from the Fairly Odd Parents with all this corporate bullshit. You know, the lifestyle of where you can get a job, have a place to live, find a steady career, get a house, have a family, and start a business later on, that's not a thing anymore. There's all these rules and regulations on even starting a business now. And most people who have a business either struggle or they fail. Overall, America just does not look like America anymore. And at this point, if people can't figure it out, they're kind of just wasting oxygen and space here.